Hello, Purple Pants Podcast. Welcome. We are so glad that you are joining us, Jatia Taylor Hart, and my co-host Bryce Isaiah for the Real Housewives of Potomac Season 8, Episode 4 recap. So I hope you guys are ready to jump into it. Are you ready, Bryce?
I am ready because I feel like, last week's episode was a little lukewarm, but this week, the demons was heating up, okay?
Look, the demons, the shrines, it was, it was fire, it was baked beans on the floor, it was everything. So we're just going to jump straight into the episode. Where do we start, Bryce?
So we finally get to meet Nneka's husband, Ike. We learn that he is a traveling doctor. So he does 1 week away, 1 week home. And we just really get to see Nneka's husband. And I have to say, I like Nneka's husband. I think that he is attractive. I think that he is like, he is a man of few words, but I feel like, he is built nice. He is fun. I
agree. In the South, we call that the strong silent type, so he doesn't have a lot to say, but when he says it, he really gets through. He doesn't have to be loud or make a scene. So that is going to be interesting. And yes, so Dr. Ike is flying into Reagan and she's picking up her man. I thought that was very cute. I thought him, her jumping up on him, I thought that was cute. I'm glad he held up because, it was touch and go when she lifted up them legs up on that man. He was strong and silent. He didn't scream like a shriek like a little girl. He just lifted up his woman. I appreciate that. So we meet Ike and they're on their way and they get a call from Karen.
Well, they get a call from Karen. Before they even get a call from Karen, we learn that they are trying to conceive a child. And Nneka shares with us that, they want to expand their family. And they are,
well, they don't have any kids, right? So they want to start their family, right?
But they want to expand their family because their family is 1 and 2. Now they're trying to get 3. And so, Nneka, she like, well, I'm be ovulating this week that he's here. And so, we're just excited.
I remember those days when you were trying to make a baby. So good luck to them. And yeah, you definitely have to have the right equipment in the right place at the right time. So I'm glad, he's a medical doctor. He understands. So good luck to them. And we will see. It's a couple of people who are on the baby train. I think Candace is on the baby train as well, right? So, maybe we'll.
Ashley is getting off the baby train at this point.
Successfully kicked out 2 of them. So great to her. And so then Karen calls and Karen invites everybody to come play pickleball. And she says that all of the ladies will be there. She mentions that all of the ladies will be there. So that is a great foreshadowing. It's great because so far we've had, groups over here, groups over there, and now all the ladies will be there.
All the ladies except Shasha. Because Shasha was
Shasha is not.
Now, I mean, when we get to the ends, all the ladies are there. The new friends, but
Shasha, okay.
Shasha's
not gonna be there. Not a big deal. But not only are the ladies invited, but also their significant others.
Their significant others. And so that's like, that's interesting. So after they hang up, Nneka is talking to Ike and she is saying, all of the ladies. And so again, Nneka goes into what she was sharing with Robin about her cousin-in-law getting a call from Wendy's sister, then getting a call from her mother. And then, Ike said, well, if we gonna be on the show, I got to tell you all of the stuff. So then we learn that not only does Wendy know Nneka and her husband, we learned that Happy Eddie went to school with Ike. And not only went to school, they were in the same association. What association was that?
African Student Association. They were in together. So that I thought that was also very interesting because, I mean, you go to a school and if you are in the same club, like, even if you ain't the best buddies with somebody, you definitely know them. I would think it's not like University of Maryland, College Park, has, African Student Association is like thousands of members and you would never meet everybody. So I think that's just a little fishy. I mean, they could say like, I don't remember him, but you definitely know him. Come on now. I
And
thought that was a little
especially
shady.
if you're from the same tribe. And not only that, we then learn through Ike that Eddie and Ike were friends on Facebook.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we learned that after these calls came from Wendy's older sister and her mother, that Ike received an unfollow from Eddie.
Yes.
And again, I think in one of Mia's confessionals, she said it the best. Okay, I can understand Twitter. I can understand Instagram. But Facebook is for,
Grandma.
especially the
Your grandma.
millennials, the older millennials, like, you're not just friends with everybody on Facebook. And even if there are people that I don't know that I am friends with on social media that I will see you out, I might not remember your name, but it's like I know you. And to go and unfollow somebody on Facebook. Now, girl, that takes some work because you got to type their name in.
Right. You got to remember that you want to unfriend them. Yes, you have to work with it. You have to work very hard.
And on Facebook
I mean, you have like what, thousands and thousands of Facebook followers, right?
girl, I got 3. So, so I know my 3 followers, okay? One is Jatia Hart, one is Graham Hart, and one is Persephone. And maybe one is Persephone's hacked account, okay?
She actually got hacked accounts. That's my mama, exactly. So really, you have to work really hard. It's giving really kind of a punk move to like unfollow somebody on Facebook.
It's giving somebody said we need to distance ourselves from them. It's giving that someone would have had to say, well, I mean, I know the guy. I'm friends with him on Facebook. Unfollow him. And when you unfollow somebody on Facebook, Jatia, it gives you the option to, one, unfriend. You can unfriend them and you can unfollow them. If you unfollow them, you remain friends with them, but you no longer see any of their things in the feed. So it's like, it's kind of like if you want to like block somebody out your life without making it noticed, because I know, because I be unfriending people.
Clearly,
but we still stay right.
Clearly, you know about this. Did you take a tutorial or did you already know this?
I mean, listen, I got a little pettyism in my spirit sometimes. So it's like, I'm a petty Betty. Okay.
All right. Petty Betty.
So it's giving, okay. So we learn all that information. So it's like, oh, okay. That's interesting. And then we go to Robin and Giselle meeting up for lunch.
Yes. The pretzel. That's what I remember most from this thing. The pretzel and they little boo server.
Yes, he was a little cute, and
look, he was throwing that. He was shooting his shot. He was like, "Sweetheart, sweetheart." This. I was like, "Okay, little boy, you trying to get chose?"
Listen, I feel like Giselle and me have the same type in a man. But listen, I love that Giselle is very much in her how Stella got her groove back era. And it's really good on her, and we enjoy it. Giselle is all of the ladies on Potomac are beautiful. So it's really good to see. But we learned that when they were in Atlanta doing their Reasonably Shady live show with Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child. Shout out to Michelle Williams and Destiny's Child. I don't know, because I keep my ears and my eyes to the Instagram, the Twitter, and sometimes the Facebook streets. I do remember seeing that live in those photos, but also shout out to Michelle Williams because Beyonce just did her Renaissance premiere in LA, and all of the Destiny's Child girls showed up. Latoya, Latavia, Kelly, and Farrah is not really a member of Destiny's Child.
She was Destiny's Child. You said all
she
of
wasn't
them.
Though. Listen, she got her bags.
Look,
she got her bags.
She made the flight. Okay, she made the flight and she flew right on out of DC.
She got her bags, and that was it. But Michelle Williams, she turned up for that premiere. She looked amazing.
Gorgeous.
But we learned that when Giselle and Robin were in Atlanta, Juan had some words with Giselle. He did not like the way that she was perpetuating the alleged rumors. And
the only good thing about that conversation was, let's get to the yelling. The yelling,
Well, no.
Juan
was a former NBA player.
Oh, yes.
He was a former coach at Coppin State. And so he is so used to yelling.
And his hearing is bad.
His hearing is bad.
Yeah.
So now he just yells and don't know that he yelling. Now,
Right.
again, I love me some Robin. I
That
love
was,
me some
look, she
now,
gonna cover up for
girl,
her man. She gonna cover up for her man. Do not cover
girl.
her man because she's gonna cover for him. And again, here comes Robin with the save. Look, she know her place on the team. So she
For
was like,
me,
look, it's time for me to play some defense. So I'm gonna be like the hearing. It's his hearing.
For me, it was the fact that when Giselle talks to Robin, she's like, "So did Juan tell you what was happening?" And Robin was like, "No, I don't know what happened. I mean, I saw y'all talking, but I was over there. However, yet you got enough of the details to know that his hearing is bad and he wasn't yelling." But again, I'm not mad. Listen, if that's the path that you want to take, Robin, I think that you should take it. I think also we get in a confessional with Giselle where Giselle is saying, although her and Juan may be at odds and Juan might be mad at Giselle, she is more concerned about their friendship. And she doesn't want anything to happen with Robin's significant other to then penetrate their friendship. And again, I can appreciate that. I can
Yes,
appreciate that.
she is willing to let it go, to say, look, we don't agree on this, but we're moving forward and we're still friends. So I like that. And then we move forward.
We do move
That's
forward. It
what you're
reminded me of a time when I came to Chicago and Jatia's husband and her children, they was in Idaho. And you know, when Jatia and I get together, we likes to eat, you know, maybe not so healthy food. We like to eat some unhealthy food. We like, what's the name of that chicken spot?
Harold's.
Harold's. You know, one
Yes.
time I was over to Tia house, we had some Harold's. The next day, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna eat that tomorrow. I woke up, I went downstairs, the Harold's was gone. Jatia's husband threw it out. Okay.
He does that all the time. I hate that.
And so while Jatia and I were in Chicago, her husband was away. He was like, I'm not gonna have Jatia and Bryce eating unhealthy. He left food to be prepared. And Jatia was like, just call him and make the food. I'm like, Jatia, I want to make food. I'm going to go get some Harold's. Jatia said, for the sake of our friendship, call my man. I call her man.
You are so dramatic sometimes.
Baby, did he walk me through making that meal? Now, mind you, but also shout out to your husband because one, the meal was low-key popping.
It was banging. So, yeah. This is why he just be sneaking and making me food when I don't ask for it. So, shout out to my man. To my man. Thank you to my man. Okay.
And mind you, Graham stayed on that phone watching me cook. Okay. We had this how healthy he is. Because we made some curry, chickpea curry chicken. He even had the couscous. Okay, he said, y'all not eating rice, y'all eating couscous. I'm making the couscous. I'm forgetting that he is literally on FaceTime in the corner with Jatia's son. And he like, Bryce, I think the couscous might be done. How do you know?
Look, he was on it. He was living his best life coaching you on how to cook his recipe. So that is so funny. I forgot about that. But yes.
Yeah. So, you know,
sometimes you just got to get with the hubby and make amends and keep hubby happy, you know. So happy wife, happy life, same thing with your husband. So, yes.
I appreciated that about Robin and Giselle because for me, it shows that they're real friends. And I know that sometimes in these housewife franchise, it can tear apart friendships and it can tear apart husbands. Again, it reminds me of Atlanta with Nene and Cynthia. And it's like, I don't want that to happen for Giselle and Robin because I just really, really love them. Now, we move on from
the other part of this conversation is that remember Robin has talked to Nneka and now Nneka. And then this is so funny. Robin is like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell you something I'm not supposed to tell you." And then she's like, "Okay." And then she proceeds to give the rundown about Nneka and Wendy. So now Robin has the heads up, and Giselle also has the heads up about the shrine, about
the phone calls.
Yeah, and Ivy and all that. So, you know, and Giselle is on the bandwagon. Giselle's like, yeah, I think she did it. It's shady.
Well, again, and then they both talk about how they're not even from the same continent, not the fact that they're from the same country, the fact that they are from the same tribe. And Giselle comes to the conclusion that we come to the conclusion is that It is
They want to be the
giving.
only person with that shine. Like they feel like NECA is a threat to Wendy and Wendy's position on the show. And now they are circling the wagon. So they're, you know how the women get sometimes if they don't want somebody on the show, they try to not film with them or shun them in some way. So I think this is their way of shunning them. But we will see. I think I don't think it's gonna work because I think she's just kicking herself in the ass by doing that. I don't know, like people filmed with you. So, and plus, Wendy, you ain't got that many allies, which I think comes back into play later in the show. But then
we get our favorite.
My favorite character of the whole entire series, Dottie. Dottie is back. Dottie is at the new home with Candace. Of course, Dottie comes in super hot as usual. And Dottie is like talking about gifts, tour gifts, talking about buying dishwashers. So Dottie ain't gone nowhere. And Candace is all for the dishwasher. She's like, how about a tour gift? Like, so I think it's lovely. I'm so happy to see Dottie back on my screen. And Dottie is ready to dish the tea. They sit down.
She is
in the backyard. They got wine, they got charcuterie, they got fine cheeses, little cut salami.
For me,
and Dottie gets down to business. So Dottie is
she does.
asking.
Well, wait a second. Wait.
Okay, go ahead.
Here's another thing for Dottie. Because again, we're there. Candace is, first of all, she's pouring the dishwasher soap on the dishes. I'm like, now are you supposed to do that?
Weird. I was like, that ain't how you do it. But go ahead.
She is saying how her dishwasher, because actually I have the same problem, but my dishwasher is a lot older. Sometimes when you put the little packet in the dishwasher, sometimes it don't open and the dishwasher stuff fall out. So Candace is saying she needs a new dishwasher, and Dottie is like, so do I need to buy you one? Now, in my opinion, just my opinion, because I love me some Candace, but the fact that her mom would even suggest that is like she wants to. It gives me Dottie wants to keep the value of the name that the name that the mortgage is on, the value of the house up, right? Like for me, it just seems like Dottie's invested in that house more than a person that signed the loan would be invested in that house. I don't know. That was just my take on it.
Look, I think Dottie is definitely invested. I mean, yes, that's her daughter, but I think Dottie got a room in that house too. Let's be honest.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but last season, before the house was together, when Candace was giving Giselle a tour, the only room in the house that was completely furnished was Dottie's room.
Right. So Dottie got a room in that house. Stop playing. Don't put some respect on Dottie's name. Dottie got a business. Dottie had a business. She been doing this. Meanwhile, we are reminded again that Candace has paid for her own promotional tour.
Well, and so I do feel like, because I don't want to make it seem like this is a hate Candace train, because I like me Candace. I support Candace's music. She just put out a new Christmas song to add to her Christmas album that she put out. But also it's like I feel like we need to talk to Candace, because when you go on the iTunes and different things, it's hard to find her catalog of music altogether, because when she first came out, it was Candace Dillard, and it seems like whatever record company
Candace Dillard Bassett.
But now it's just Candace, and it's hard to find her music. So it's like I really hope that she kind of sort of gets that together. But shout out to Candace and putting out her Christmas song. Candace, yeah, it's hard to find her. Like it's really weird. I mean, I could find my songs easier than that, and I'm not on no record label. But Candace does explain to us that the first tour was considered a promotional tour. And normally, I know a little bit about the record business. I have a lot of friends that are in the record business. I am considered an artist. I have one friend that's getting ready to blow up. Her name is Gogo Morrow. I've got another friend, Christian Easton. Like I know people of the things. I'm like, and so she does explain that the first tour was a promotional tour. Now the promotional tour normally, from my understanding, is that the record label will send you to these different markets to go to these radio stations so that they are familiar with you. You may be promoting a single. At that time, she was promoting not even Drive Back. It was that first single. I forget the name of it. But When I See You. And so it is so
Not
that you
familiar,
get,
sorry.
no, you do. It's that it's from that producer that died, is with the go-go beat. But anyway, and so that the markets get familiar with you, you may do that these promotional press runs and all this stuff. And so that way, when you come back with a project, the market is familiar with you. And so now we know that the promotional tour is done, and now she's coming back on this other tour to actually like sell her music. But again, to my understanding, if you were signed to a record label, normally the record label like
Pays for that.
pays for that, but she must be in some type of 360 deal. She must be in some type of distribution deal where it's like,
or maybe she's not in the deal. So I'm gonna go with that and keep it moving. I'm not about to sit up here and speculate about the deal that she don't have. I don't care, whatever. She paying for her own stuff. It sounds shady. So Dottie is at the table. Can I say that I thought the backyard looked so uncomfortable? Like I was like, why are y'all in the bushes in some random table in the bushes? So I thought
that's
that
far
was
away
weird.
from the house. The grass not cut. Like, why wouldn't you just sit on the back porch of the house?
Yeah, that was, I don't know. That was weird. And then when she tiptoed, it looked like it hurt, and back to the house to get the wine. So they're sitting uncomfortably in the backyard in the woods. And Dottie gets straight to the point. No, I love Dottie. She's like me. She's like, let's just go in. So how are y'all affording all this? Dottie's like, let's get down to the numbers. She was like, if you paying for tour, you know, is Chris, how's Chris affording this?
Well, no. See, this is what happened was, so Candace was talking about the tour, and she was saying that she can't spend that same type of money that she spent, because when she brought it up to Chris, Chris almost had a conniption, like, we can't spend this money. And Dottie, she didn't say anything at first. Dottie just said,
look, Dottie was getting to the point, because you sitting up here complaining about money and then complaining about Chris complaining about money. So let's talk about Chris and money.
Then Dottie said, well, is he making money?
You let us here. And so, you know, Candace is like, oh, yeah, maybe, you know, and she raises her hands, but, you know, it doesn't answer specifically. So we get nothing. But Dottie asked the questions we all want to know.
But to get that response from Dottie, it makes it seem like she is supplementing either the tour or the mortgage for, again, because the response that she gave in the look that she gave was that he's not contributing to this money. So why does he have a say so?
Clearly, I'm holding y'all up. So I thought that was a little preview, you know. And also Candace didn't snap and tell her mom to shut up, be like, this none of your business. We got this. So clearly, like, if you don't want somebody in your money business and they ask about your money, but no, Candace was okay with that. So I just want to say that. So Dottie is offered to buy stuff for the house. Candace is talking about how much money she spent and how Chris is like telling her to dial back. So you know what? It's all pointing towards Dottie once again supporting their family. So we'll see. And I hope Dottie comes back. She's welcome whenever. Okay, more conversations. I also want to say it's very pointing that she had to have a conversation with Dottie and not with one of the other girls, because she's not close enough to any of the other girls to have this conversation.
Right. And it's like we already know what the conversation will give with Karen and with Wendy. Another interesting thing is that she also brings up well, what's Chris doing now? And then Candace reveals to us that he's not managing that other place, you know, where he was sending Ashley the DMs to come through to get the promotional. He is doing online cooking and other things. Here's what I will say, though.
Private chef events.
Private chef events. I do follow Chris Bassett online, and he does do these like online cooking things, and I do watch. So, again,
but are they as good as my husband?
I mean, well, you know, I'm partial to Graham, and you know, so and Graham could throw down. So I mean, I'm gonna go with
one-on-one personal lessons. It wasn't just like an Instagram live or anything. So I just want to say that. But you know, good for him. I'm sure he can cook. Look, I love a man who can cook. I married a man who can cook. So good at it. And I hope his career goes well. But
then Dottie ain't done. Dottie want to know, are you good with Robin? And
yes, she does want to know that. So love you, Dottie. Dang, girl, you just get to the point.
She like, I mean,
speed it up.
We could replace some of these housewives with Dottie. I'm just saying.
For realsy. So Dottie is like, so where you at? And then comes Candace's side of the story, basically that she ain't good, you know, with Robin. So,
And
that she thinks Robin is a fake, phony, a fraud is what she said from the clip of the podcast. So we just know that she's not in a good space.
I don't agree with it, right? Like, I feel like
Neither.
Candace went on this promotional tour to essentially trash Robin in the media. And again, Candace's defense to that is that her best friend, not Robin, but her best friend allegedly was trashing Candace's husband all season. And she's saying that Robin just stood by there and allowed it. Now,
and that's Robin who went and had that one-on-one talk to say that she was supporting you, to say all these things. And that, so get out of here. I think you're just trying to have an easy target. Again, girl, you need to have some friends on your side somehow, some way, and just need to get over it. Okay, before Dottie pop you in the mouth with a purse.
You're essentially saying Robin is collateral damage to your war with Giselle. And so then for me, that says that you're not really friends with Robin like that. But listen, now we get
the only thing is that she's mad that Robin didn't come out and say her stuff, but that just means.
But
Robin
why would she? Why would she? Girl, Candace, it's these girls online right now saying some things about Chris, and with DMs and photos, we don't hear you talking about that.
Right, exactly. So don't get mad because Miss Thing knows how to handle her business. You saw her again providing defense, doing all this stuff for her man, and you don't know how to do it. I think she's just jealous that she got the fire and Robin didn't. That's basically it.
Well, Robin is definitely getting the fire this season. So it's like, and now you are choosing to do what the women did to you, although you're saying you're so hurt by it. But I digress because listen, we get Mr. and Mrs. Pickle. I
love Mr. and Mrs. Pickle. So love the outfits. I love that Ray is game to wear an outfit that Karen chose for him, honey. So she's into it. I love a well-coordinated, well-planned event. So I love that Karen has gotten all the girls together except Farrah, Franklin, and Shasha. Everybody's together again. And only the Grand Dame can basically call this collection of ladies together. Everybody says yes to the invitation. Not only that, but they show up with their significant others or, a stand-in in the case of Ashley. And we see Ashley's assistant.
And, later in the episode, Giselle's assistant or Giselle's best friend, Cal, comes in. But it is interesting, the arrival of the ladies, because it's Giselle comes in. We see that Karen and Giselle are in good terms. The next person that arrives is Wendy. Now, I don't know if this is foreshadowing, but why is Wendy and Gordon arriving in separate cars? I just thought that was weird.
You mean, not Wendy and Gordon.
Not Wendy, Mia and Gordon. Yeah. I'm like, why is Mia and Gordon arriving in separate cars?
I didn't notice that.
So I did. And I was like, it's interesting that Bravo would show that, right? Like, because again, they are very big on foreshadowing. Mia and Giselle, they are there. It's great. And then I believe it's Wendy arrives.
And I wasn't paying attention. I don't pay attention when
she doesn't speak to anyone but Karen there on the pickleball field. She doesn't speak to Mia. She doesn't speak to Giselle. It gets a little awkward, right? And then Candace arrives. Of course, Candace doesn't speak to Giselle. Candace doesn't speak to Mia. Then we get a little confessional from Giselle because Mia's like, oh, you didn't speak to whatever. And Giselle is essentially saying to the things that Candace has said about Giselle, i.e. her passing as white, her uterus comments.
She just has a ridiculously foul mouth, and not in the ways of cursing, but she says some mean and hurtful things, and she sounds really stupid when she says it. Like I'm not gonna, whatever. It's a lot of women on that show that I wouldn't necessarily consider smart, but I think Candace proves time and time again that she just says some ignorant stuff, not the dumb. No, that's true. She say dumb stuff too, but like she say some ignorant stuff that like I just can't even get down with. Between like her talking about you accuse my husband of rape, the whole colorism thing, you looking over there looking like a white woman, blah blah blah, yada yada. I'll just be like, girl, just shut up. You are setting the cause back when you say that kind of stuff, like that ignorant stuff, because it's just not right. Anyway, so go ahead.
But I'm off my colorism does exist, right? But it's like you can't try to weaponize the fact that you and Giselle don't get
get
along, not for anything that has to do with the color
right.
of your
That ain't got
skin or
nothing
your
to do with
complexion.
the fact that she light skin.
And the fact that you're married to a white man, but like, you know, it just is like, but colorism does exist, and right, like, so it's like, I just don't, but anyway. And so at this point, we have Karen, we have Mia, we have Giselle, we have Ashley, we have Wendy, and we have Candace, and then Nneka arrives. Nneka arrives. She speaks to Karen. She walks over to the pickle field. She speaks to Mia. And in my opinion, because I watched this interaction very closely, Wendy is like, she's gearing up. Like, she's not making eye contact. She's very stiff. And Nneka kind of like, you know, of course, it should be Nneka to speak because you're speaking to the other ladies. But it's like,
and also Wendy was there and Nneka just came in, and etiquette, if we want to go back, when you enter a room, you are supposed to say hello to the people there. But you can see, yes, Wendy already got an attitude. She already ready to act stank. Yeah, she already uptight. So she know what happened with her sister Nim in the shrine, and she's trying to ice her out.
Right. And so it's this weird, like, Nneka kind of walks by her, then, like, you know, it's like, hey, and then Wendy's like, hi, like, is that very fake energy.
Yes.
So it's like, now we have that. And then, bump, coming from the Himalayas.
The main event is here.
Coming from the Himalayas. Coming from the Himalayas. It is Robin and Juan.
Who don't care? I don't care. You sound like the last guest coming on, like Jerry Springer. I don't care what you say. Whatever. That ain't my baby. Whatever. I don't care. So what? And that's what he looked like coming up in the pickleball field.
But listen, Juan makes a face, or Juan shows face. Now, we know the last 2 seasons, Juan has been MIA.
Yes.
Juan only really shoots with Robin, or he is living in the phone. So it is giving very a concerted effort to put our best foot forward to show up as a couple, because if we know anything about Juan, this ain't where Juan want to be. Okay, Juan don't have time.
I'm gonna give Juan props for that, because you know we were talking mess about him making his wife look messy, and he showed up for her. So I thought that was fantastic. And let's be honest, whenever Juan goes to one of these events, he's also very fun. You know, he getting his booty touched. He drinking all night, all that other kind of stuff. Have you ever heard Juan complain about the other men? Never. I do like that. I'll give Juan his props on that. He never complained, even though Michael was corny and pushing up on him or whatever. When he's there, he has a pleasant attitude. I will give him that.
He does. Also, so then the men break off to play their own pickleball. The ladies are playing. What is also interesting is that another moment where Happy Eddie goes over to Juan and Ike, and I want to say,
kisses Juan's ass. Yeah.
He shows Juan love, but then he goes to Eddie and goes, or he goes to Ike and it's like, Eddie, nice to meet you. And the look on, you can only see it for a second, so you got to just see the clip. The look on Ike's face is like
silent type, because you know he ain't gonna say nothing, honey.
It's like, oh, you playing this game, my brother? Like, I was like, okay. And that moment, I was like, I like Ike. But anyway, the guys seem to be getting along. The girls are playing Karen. Again, kudos to the Grand Dame, because y'all know y'all think I hate Karen. I love Karen. I just, like, you know, Karen, I just love to hate Karen, love to hate the love, the hate the love. But Karen is like, she really wants to gather the ladies together, and so she separates people on teams that aren't talking with each other to force them to play. And again, I think it's a really great icebreaker game. You, as somebody that is in a very powerful position at your company, I feel like this is something that you guys would do at like a team building exercise.
I wish I could get my people to play pickleball. I would love to do it. It looks like fun. And also, I think that when you do sports and when you do movement, it gets people out of their head and they're thinking about the game and they're not thinking about the relationships. So and of course, we know that these ladies are very competitive, not very athletic, you know, but they are competitive. So, you know, once the game is afoot, honey, they are swinging and doing all this kind of stuff. And it's lovely to see them not just sitting down and talking or eating, because that's a lot of the things that they do. So I love the activity. Good job, Grand Dame.
So shout out to her. After that is over, everyone comes to her catered lunch of pickles, baked beans, and I don't know what
Yeah,
else.
that was a weird lunch of pickle and baked beans. But you know what? She had food. She didn't have her people there starving. So I appreciate that.
So
Um,
everyone
and
is
she makes
sitting
the
around.
speech,
Oh,
right?
yes, yes. Give us the speech in the grand dame
Okay.
voice.
So thank you all for coming here. You know, right now, we're not in a good place, you know, us ladies. And then what happens here is, I love it. Juan's like, I'm gonna go play pickleball.
Juan is like, Ike, you trying to play some pickle because I ain't got time for this.
Yes. So not only that, but then the Grand Dame is like, yes. For example, Robin and I, we are not in a good place.
That's
and
when Juan
Robin is
said,
like,
whoop.
please don't say my damn name.
Juan
Don't
said,
say
my name is Bennett and I ain't trying to or going to be in it.
Yeah, and you know what? This is the thing. Juan could have started screaming, you know, keep my wife's name out your mouth. He could have went the whole Will Smith route, but no, he politely just excused himself because he saw that the situation was not going somewhere. He didn't feel like the situation was going somewhere positive for him. So kudos again to Juan. Clearly he got some home training and he knows, you know, just to step out of the situation before you wreck yourself.
Juan been doing this for 8 seasons. Juan knows these type of settings. He knows the warning signs. It's like when it's about to rain and you hear the thunder.
And he was right.
And he was right because, again, Karen is bringing up Robin's name. She's bringing up Candace and Giselle. And it seems like we're kind of getting somewhere. And then, baby.
Then here we go. The main event for this episode. And that is now Nneka feels like this is the good time, you know, since she's talking about different, you know, collaborations, relationships that aren't really working. Nneka decides to bring up the fact that Wendy's sister called her in-law and basically told that Nneka need to keep Wendy's name out her mouth.
And stop clout chasing and stop, like, you know, stop using her name and telling people that you know her.
Right, because we don't know each other. And so Nneka says, yes. And so I heard this, and then Nneka says this line, I don't know you to have a problem with you. And then Wendy repeats the same line. And it's like, okay, now are you mocking her? Because why are you repeating what you saying? You sound like a parrot. You ain't got no own money. You know, you trying to make fun of me. And then it just goes all downhill from there.
But kudos to Nneka because I feel like, you know, we heard her telling this to Robin, and instead of like perpetuating this, Nneka brings it to the table and to the ladies, listen, your sister called my family. Then Wendy's like, who's your family? Who's your family? Then Nneka says the name. Wendy don't say nothing. And then she said, your sister called, and then your mother called. And your mother said that, do you want me to put you in a shrine? Do you want, you know, have I ever prayed against you? And Wendy's defense to all of that. And then, you know, Wendy's like, well, where's the proof? Nneka got the proof. She got the boom. And so Wendy goes into this conspiracy theory that, you know what? See, Ashley brought that story up and now you're trying to validate it. I don't know. This is what you want. Go try again. Try again. Try again.
Yeah. So Wendy did not win that one. Wendy looked like an idiot because, I mean, she could have just been like, you know what? Those were my sister and my mom. I have no hard feelings. She could have just repaired it, but instead she decided to perpetuate it. So it seemed like she clearly supported what they did because instead of saying, you know what, that was messed up. I don't know what they did. I wasn't there.
Or I had no knowledge of that. I didn't know that. Like,
and to be like, you know what, moving forward, let's just put this behind us. She could have did that, but no, she went and she hyped it up because Wendy also knows that this is her storyline. This is your storyline. You ain't got nothing else. You have nothing else. And this is your storyline. So you're hyping it up. You could have diffused the situation. You definitely know how to communicate. Let's be honest. And
you're Wendy, so smart. Your vibrational levels are so high.
But they real low right now. So I just thought it was interesting because I know Wendy knows how to communicate. I'm sure she don't go on the job doing that. You telling her. So I think she's choosing to do this with Nneka for drama. And she sees that she's losing, so she tries to up the drama again by saying, "You're jealous of me," and walking around. Though she did look like she lost some weight. I'm not gonna lie.
Wendy looks good. Now
yes.
I won't the Wendy improvement, whatever she did like 2 seasons ago, I'll give that to Wendy. She looks amazing, but also
but she lost weight since then, so she did look good. But
so does Nneka.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a mute point. Like, girl, like you're trying to say that she's trying to come because, like, but I'm like, y'all both are beautiful. So then it's like, to me, are you jealous?
She is. And so she does. And you know what? This is going back again. Like Robin says, this is deflection. So she's trying to get the heat off of her and change the subject. So now she's nitpicking and gaslighting about specific details that don't matter.
You lying. You said it was me. You said I called you. Now, girl, you know that's not what she said. You know she said your sister. Now it's like, and at first, I'm going to be honest. At first, I was like, oh, okay, Wendy giving it to her. Wendy is kind of like, fire with fire. But then when Wendy tried to harp on, you're lying, now you said I called you, now you said I called you, it's like, okay, girl, I see what we're doing here. And then when she gets up, and like, you know what?
I'm gonna repair a real relationship that I care about.
I'm gonna
grab
and
Mia.
then says Mia. Mia, of all people, the person that you call slow, the person that you call dumb, the person that you haven't even spoke to this event yet.
Right.
That's who you want to repair with? Right. Then when y'all go to talk, all you're talking about is Nneka and her trying you. And this is where Wendy lost me. Wendy was like, yeah, me, you and I have gotten into it, but we don't call each other bees. Bravo, fast forwarding to all the times that they called each other. Be like, Mia threw a drink in your face.
She threw a drink in your face. So this is what I think. I think Wendy has done the calculations and she's like, look, I need more allies. I can't have two major enemies on the show or that's going to ruin me. And so I think she has very calculatedly decided I'm going to drop this with Mia so that I can pick it up with Nneka.
Mia is the most wish-washy one of them all.
Right. So and she'll take my apology, even though I done said all these horrible things, and that sort of thing. So I think she was very calculated and was doing deflection 101 and trying to win Mia over and avoid the fight with Nneka. I think she saw that she was not winning the fight with Nneka. Nneka has no reason to lie. She has Ashley definitely on her side. She's got Robin definitely on her side. And she's got Giselle. Right. So she saw she was losing. She know what's up. Well played, Nneka. And Nneka, the only thing I didn't like is that Nneka kind of backed down a little bit, and I didn't like that. Don't back down. Because Wendy liked to be loud. And you don't have to be loud to not back down. I think what she could just say is, what you do with a loud person, this is my thing. It's like, you let them be loud, you let them finish up, and then as soon as they finish up, you state your truth again. Because then they got to because they have no truth. Again, so the only thing they have to do is to be loud, and that expends a lot of energy. You keep stating your truth, girl.
So I agree. And I also feel like, if anything, the one thing that I didn't like about Nneka was that the one point that Wendy kept using, which I agree, is that it felt like Nneka came there with an agenda. Like, she came there guns blazing, ready to go. That was Wendy's thing. Like, you came here for me. And it did give that, right? Like, it did give that, like, the first opportunity Nneka could have, she did just kind of like drop it all out there. But one also could say is like, well, girl, let's clear the air. Let's not tiptoe around this situation that clearly about, your mom know about, your sister know about. Like, so it's like, that's my one thing with Nneka. Now, if you thought it was over then, because now, first of all, they're in this little pickleball area section. Now, Wendy is galvanizing Candace, Wendy's other friend, what's her name? Antana or something, the other girl from last season, she came in from last episode. She came in with her Dior thing, something like, she's there.
I remember the Dior, yes.
And then, it's Nneka, Wendy, Nneka, Robin, Giselle, and Mia. And Nneka is now also saying she's adding the Eddie piece in. And now she is saying that, like, listen, like, Eddie and Ike they went to school together. Now that blew everybody's mind. Now they're like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? They went
And
to,
I'm sorry, but again, going back to it, like the African Student Union is not that big. I can't believe it. You are at the same school at the same time, and you overlap, and you're both African, you both Black, and you both from the same tribe, and you both in the same organization, and y'all don't know each other. Like, come on now.
Oh, listen, people, you can say what you want about Mia, but Mia, after this her 4th season on here, she know what to do. So then Mia goes over to Eddie and it's like, do you know Ike? Because they say, you unfollowed them on Facebook and all of this other stuff. And so then Happy Eddie is like, oh no, we got to settle this down. We got to settle this down. And, he gets Ike, and Ike is with Juan. And the whole Facebook thing comes up. And so then the ladies are now around. And so Ike, when Nneka is like, no, baby. And Ike said, hey, I'm going to handle this. I said, ooh, Ike. Now, Ike goes to
silent type, honey. There we go.
I mean, I don't know if Eddie needs to get a new shirt line of, I don't know if it's Scared Eddie or like, Back Down Eddie, because Happy Eddie wasn't here. He arrived.
Yeah.
Then when he called this meeting, Ike said, now, this is the only thing that I hate about this altercation between Ike and Eddie, is that I hate that the root, or what seems to be the surface level, is that it's Facebook. But I really feel like, yes, that's the surface level of it. But what I really feel like Ike is saying is that, like, bro,
Stop
what's
playing.
up. Like, like, you know. And so Ike is like very clearly like, did you unfollow me on Facebook?
Yeah. I'm going to call you out for a very bitch move that you did in front of everybody. Yeah. So, this is the thing. Both Eddie and Wendy,
we never really got an answer.
Yes, that's where it was the cliffhanger, the Facebook cliffhanger.
But we then just get Wendy now trying to be like, oh my God, they trying to come at you for Facebook. And so for me in that moment, it's like, okay, so you're laughing at it, right? But you are the same people. You're the same person that clearly told Eddie to unfollow him. So really,
it's clear that Wendy feels threatened by Nneka, and she blew an opportunity because she could have had the Nigerian posse going for her, but she didn't. And she's had chances to turn it around, and now she done got a whole family involved with it, with the shadiness. And I really hope that Wendy turns it around, because it's just making her look worse and worse and worse. She just needs to stop and, welcome the woman to the group. The girl is in the group. You done got it in the group. Look, you tried to keep her out the group, and by doing so, you got her in.
You have her more than in the group. And again, like she said, like the conspiracy theory that she was bringing up, that Ashley brought this up, and that's something that Nneka was going to stir around with. Anything, Nneka dispelled it. But if anything, it reminds me of a playbook out of the Grand Dame's book. You see how the Grand Dame treats Charisse? Is that not similar?
Yeah. No. That is what they do. Basically, you try to neg her. You try to get people against her. You try not to film with her. I get it, but it didn't work for the Grand Dame either. Like, if y'all got beef, that's what they want to see. And especially if y'all got real life beef and you are perpetuating it, then you are securing that person's spot on the show. What you need to do is not say anything about them at all, and just like, hi, and then make them make their own storyline.
Another interesting piece of this pickleball, 2 things. One, Candace is talking to Nneka, and she is basically saying, like, you're calling her mom names and this and that. Like, that's not how you do it. And then Nneka says, but do you agree with what they're doing? And Candace very clearly says, no, I don't agree with it. Oh, okay, Candace. So now what you're doing is riding for Wendy. The same thing that in which you are saying why you're mad at Robin. Oh, interesting. Then in the middle of all of this, we just get a boom, boom. And the beans is on the ground. Fire is kicking up. Candace is like, the demons. And so we don't know what happened. Then all of a sudden, Karen is like, Juan Dixon, you try to ruin my event. And Juan is like, no, I'm so sorry. I would never do that. He tries to give Karen a hug. Karen is very much like, And Juan is like, no, what we're not going to do, in my opinion, this is what I got from that. What we're not going to do is perpetuate that little thing that you tried to perpetuate, that I was squeezing and hugging on you. Like, no, you're an elder. I am sorry. Give me a hug. So they hugged, and then we see the slow-mo clip of, because Juan was like, I don't want none of this mess, and he is playing pickleball. He went to go try to save the pickleball and ran into the gate and then knocked everything over.
I thought that was a sweet, lighthearted moment. I thought he apologized, and I don't think he did it on purpose. You know,
not at all.
Whatever. They needed some lighthearted moments, and let's be honest, Juan Dixon brought it this time. Usually we be talking mess about Juan Dixon, but he was very personable. He was very social. He played the pickleball. He showed up for his woman. He stayed out of drama. It was a win for Juan. Okay, so I'll tell you that. It was a win for Juan. It was a win for Ike. Thank you. And it was a loss for Miss Win. I feel bad that he gets drawn into his wife's drama. So hopefully we can repair this. It seemed like, to be honest, the biggest winner of this episode was Nneka. I will say that. And because she stood her ground, she didn't look like an idiot. Her husband stood her ground, and she got her point across. And I think she has most of the people on her side. And so we get some foreshadowing for next episode. It seems like there is a trip coming up, which is when it all goes down, right?
Looks exciting. I think they're going to Texas.
Austin, yes. Austin,
Texas.
I love it. I hope all the ladies, maybe Cha-Cha will make it, maybe she won't, will go on the trip. Usually the trips are the best because they're out of their comfort zone. They cannot run home or run away. They are literally like just stuck with each other. And usually it goes down on the girls' trip. So I am looking forward to it.
So am I. And this is like the pre-girls trip. Like normally there's always an international trip, but then they always do a domestic trip very early on in the season. Somebody's like, oh, I got to get a little weekend something popping. So, and it looks like it goes down, and I can't wait to be back next week with you discussing Real Housewives of Potomac episode 5. But this has been your recap of episode 4. Jatia Hart Taylor.
Thank you, Purple Pants Posse, for having me. I love this podcast. I love Real Housewives. I love watching it. And thanks for having me. And thank you, Bryce. You know, you are the co-hostess with the mostest. Can I call you co-hostess? What are your pronouns? No, I'm kidding.
My pronouns are unfollow. Okay. Well, okay. We'll be back next week. See you later.
Mwah.
Pants, it's the Purple Pants Podcast. You better get your headphones and listen up quick. Woo. It's the Purple Pants Podcast.